What is up, everybody? We are live on Facebook today doing something a little bit different, so please bear with us if it's a little glitchy or if you're unable to comment or anything like that. We are going to go ahead and record this episode as well, and we're going to upload it to YouTube, so if you want to watch it later, you're more than welcome to. As always, I am Dan, and we are joined with Craig. How are you today, Craig?
Oh, it's a great day here in Indiana. I was out. I've been working on somebody's bike who left it down here, putting some handlebars on it. So I've been working on that the past couple of days. But then
Sorry about that.
today it was such a nice day that I thought I'd get a jump on my mowing. So I went out and knocked out some mowing.
Oh, right on, right on. Now, how many lawns do you actually do?
A bunch. So
I
it
gotcha. I
it
gotcha.
uh it depends on the week. But this was a big week, so I've got to mow, and tomorrow I've got to mow also. And with school being in session makes it difficult to get there, before the sun goes down because we don't have the 9, 10 o'clock nights here yet like we do during the summer. So
Well, they're coming, so
yeah,
it's just a matter of that. So, well, that's awesome. We got some big news. A couple things are coming up. I mean, we just
yeah,
got done with
huge
Easter,
news.
which is
You like
awesome.
you shocked me with the news that you sent me, so I'm like stoked about that.
So, I don't know if we want to talk about it, but I think we
I think
can. I mean,
I
right
think
now
we
is the
probably
best
should.
time.
We should probably at least
I mean,
throw it out there.
do we have any like? Is there anybody watching us right now? I mean, I'm just trying to think.
Uh, well, that's on another screen. Um,
Yeah, who cares? Not a big deal, anyways.
yeah, we got
It's
some
not
people
showing
on.
that we're live on Fifth. There we go. Perfect. Well, um, as you know, we all do different. We have different rabbit holes that we go on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and all that other stuff. Well, we were able to get a hold of a Harley influencer.
Yeah, I like that
Actually,
word.
is
I like.
he's actually in Indiana, not too far from Craig and Craig's mom. But we are going to get Nick, the Harley guy, on, and he'll be live with us. May 12th is when we're going to go ahead and record the episode. But he's super stoked. He has over, I want to say, 100,000
Yeah,
followers or
something crazy. He's
something.
got a ton, and he's on everything. I mean, he's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he's on YouTube, he's on um, I don't. I think he's got a Twitter. So
I'm
he's out
sure he
there.
does, but
He's out there on everything, and is putting out some great content of just all kinds of different stuff from how-to videos to him out riding and having a good time with that. He was actually down at Daytona Bike Week, so he's just all over.
and he also does some parody videos,
Yeah,
which are hilarious if you get a chance to watch them. Um, it is Nick the Harley guy or Ride. Is it Ride or Die? Is that
Rider
what it
Rot,
is?
Rider Rot.
Ride or Rod. Check him out. He's got some pretty badass T-shirts and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
he's got a pretty
and some
sweet
other stuff.
exhaust today. Also, like a super sweet exhaust came to him today.
Oh, he okay. I remember
Yeah.
he was talking about it in one of the lives. But it's super super cool. If any of the people that are watching or you're watching this video, we would love if there's any questions you want us to ask him. We're gonna just kind of pick his brain a little bit. I know that he's planning a ride this year from Fort Wayne, which is where he's from, um, and he is talking about doing a ride from Fort Wayne all the way to Harley Homecoming this year, and he's
Yeah.
trying to plan something out. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to him. He went through a little. He got a little fender bender. He was talking about that,
A little mishap, I guess you would call it.
something like that.
Yeah,
But
a
um,
self-induced mishap, I guess, is the best way to say it.
But definitely a very cool guy. Be on the lookout for that episode. We're hoping that he can come on and kind of do a little bit for uh, f- uh, the Motor Time podcast. We'll record some stuff, and we'll also take some snidbits of the actual of of the cast or whatever, and then we'll upload them to TikTok as shorts or Instagram or whatever like that. Um, so we have that. We also have Gus from Throttle Out Audio confirmed that he's willing to come on the show. He knows everything and anything about motorcycle audio. And yeah, so that's going to be an awesome one as well. We also have another thing. We got something else big coming up this weekend.
Yeah. So down here in southern Indiana, one of my buddies, Derek Buff, puts on a bike night, and it started out pretty small with 10, 15 bikes, but last year it was up to 70, 80 bikes pretty consistently. And the first one is this upcoming Saturday. So he was nice enough to say he would come on and talk about bike night down here in southern Indiana in Salem. But that's great. I actually had his bike in here yesterday. We were putting parts on it, doing all kinds of stuff. So lots of stuff coming up. But then the week after that, so not this weekend, but the following weekend, we've got the first organized ride, I guess we would call it, of the year.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
We're going to Uranus.
I'm sorry.
I said we're going to Uranus.
Oh, okay. The Fudge Factory. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
can we
Actually,
talk about that on Facebook here?
all three of them. We're gonna hit up the one there in Anderson. Then we're gonna go to Richmond, Indiana, and hit up the second one. And then we're gonna go all the way across Indiana, all the way across Illinois into Missouri, and pick up the third one in St. Roberts, Missouri. So all three of them in one day. So kind of a big organized event for the Motor Misfits.
Exactly. It's about how many miles? 300 miles, give or take?
It's 500 total for the whole day. So we go.
Okay.
We get it's 300 miles if we were to leave Anderson and leave out Richmond. But we're gonna go to Richmond and then drive back across the state. So we're gonna do a little bit of backtracking, but we get all three of them in a day. So
Awesome. That it's going to be an awesome ride. Hopefully we're able to be on two wheels. With the Motor Misfits, we're not just a motorcycle group; we're a riding group. So cars aren't frowned upon, but it's definitely a nice thing to be on the two wheels. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather's good. Um, but yeah, hopefully the well, we're riding with you, Craig, so we're gonna get wet. So it
yeah, it's
doesn't
gonna
matter.
rain.
So
I'm just gonna guarantee it. I mean, that's how it is. You're gonna get wet.
exactly, exactly. Well, I mean, I know you were talking a little bit. You said you were working on some idiot's bike that
Yeah.
left it down there, and then Derek's bike. You were doing some stuff with him, but that kind of goes into what our podcast is today. Is let's talk about your favorite. Let's do it two ways. I know we were talking about favorite jobs, but let's do what's your favorite thing to work on a bike or a car? Like you have no problem. It's something fun. It's enjoyable to you.
So for me, probably the thing that I like to work on the most on a bike would be I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. I like just straight bolt-on stuff. Like that's a lot of fun because it changes the bike really quick. So whether you're talking
Yep.
floorboards or derby covers or lights that just are plug and play. You don't really have to fight anything to do it. I like that. A lot. But then if we're gonna talk something that I really like and I like a good challenge, handlebars. It seems like every time I get into a bike, it's something that you don't expect, and I can throw yours out there. Dan's got an '03 Harley that a '03 Electra Glide that he leaves down here in Salem, and he said he wanted some bars on it. And I said, oh, no big deal, just buy the bars and we'll slap them right on there. It'll take like an hour. Well, come to find out, an '03 Harley didn't bury as much wire in the fairing as they do now. So, you don't have the extra play. So he didn't go, crazy with handlebars. He went with 12-inch handlebars. But with that, you have to change out the clutch cable. You've got to change out the brake cable. You've got to change out the throttle cables. You've got to change out all of these cables that you're like, oh, I didn't have to do that on, on my 19. I didn't have to change out any cables, and I went with 12s. They're exactly the same bars, but now I got to change
Right.
out cables. Um, I've done other bars where you get a wire pinched in there, and your thumb controls don't work. And then I've had other bars where you literally take out 4 bolts, slap the bars on, put the 4 bolts back in, and you're good to go. So it's always something different. It seems like.
Oh, well, and the thing is with the '03 compared to the newer versions, the 13 and up, and then the 19 and up or 17 up, whatever it is, you're actually having to putz with cables and stuff. Everything else, I mean, is wires.
Yeah.
On the newer bikes, everything's done by wires. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, you still have your brake cables and your throttle cables and that type of stuff, but I mean, or not your throttle cables, but your on mine you have a clutch cable. It's hydraulic because it's a 19, but then everybody else has the same kind of clutch cable that you've got on your '03. So, there it's just I think Harley realized, oh, people are going to change out bars, so we're going to bury some extra wire, some extra cable here in the fairing to be able to put on bigger bars and not have to, mess with changing out cables. Because I know it was a surprise to you too that you had to
Wow.
buy cables.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we should be fine. But then I'm like, we're going from stock bars to 12s. I mean,
Yeah.
the bars were inexpensive, but the cables, man, that's what they get you right there. But I mean, it does give the bike a totally different look, and I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm grateful for you working on it. I know you, and tell your wife thank you because I know that
So
you're out in the garage, and
this is
I
my
know she's
place
got a
though. I
shit
like
ton of honey-do lists.
yeah. This is my place though. I like being out here. I like working on stuff. I like tinkering on stuff. So it's a good thing.
Right on, right on. I would say, for me, like when it comes to like bikes, I mean, I could do the little stuff like the little electrical stuff, maybe put on underglow lights and stuff like that. I mean, I enjoy that, but I'm a big audio guy. So like I love tinkering with car audios and running the wires and stuff like that. The one thing I hate doing, hate, and it stems from when I was a kid, brake jobs.
Oh well, you missed out. I did a brake job on '03 that's sitting here in the garage.
But I'm just saying that they suck.
Yeah.
You get the calipers stuck, and now you're trying to putz with that and whatnot. I hate it.
Well, and the stuff changes in brakes. Like you're using a 10 millimeter on the whole thing, and then all of a sudden it's a 10 millimeter, but it's a 12.10 millimeter. So all the sockets you've got out now are wrong, and you got to switch them out and get something different so that it'll work.
Right. So
So
now
what?
let's go back. Let's go into another onto that job. What's one? Okay, here. Let's kind of go back a little bit. Growing up, what was your dream job? What did you want to be?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know that I really had a dream job until I started teaching. Like teaching kind of fell in my lap, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to
What,
do.
what made you become a teacher?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it's not that I love. It's not that I loved school. School was always easy for me, so it wasn't one of those. I was like, oh, I want to spend the rest of my life in school. But now I've spent the better part of 40 years in school. So I really don't know. I mean, it's just one of those that I don't think I had a dream job until I got into teaching.
I got, now, what about your job that you hated? And you
Ooh.
can't say working at West Washington.
No, I love working at West Washington. I worked in a
Oh, it's a
factory.
cool school.
I worked in a factory for a couple of summers, and I didn't realize what factory work was like. And it was definitely an eye-opening experience to me. And some people, love factory work and love being able to do the same thing every day, for hours on end. it's not me, and it drove me absolutely crazy. I was like, this is terrible, and I would be the first one to volunteer to go learn something new, go to a new part of the line or whatever, and do something different, just because I couldn't stand to be doing the same thing all the time.
I could see that, especially with you, because you can't keep still.
Yeah.
Like if you're on the phone, you can't sit and be on the phone. Like right
No, I
now,
walk.
you're probably you're fidgeting. Like if we could do
I
the
got
podcast while you
I got
walk
this
around your
chair that
yard.
I swivel in.
So, um, what
What
was
so
one job before you became a teacher? What was something that you liked growing up?
in high school, I worked for a seed company, and anybody who knows anything about seeds, well, anybody who doesn't know anything about seeds thinks that all the seeds are the same. You go out in the field and you plant corn, and corn is corn is corn. Well, it's not. There's 700 varieties of corn out there, and all made by different companies, different things. So I worked for a seed company, and literally I drove a box truck and delivered pallets of seed to the farm. And then we would go back and pick up their extra seed, and we'd deliver beans, and then we'd pick up beans, and just always driving somewhere, doing something different, which was awesome. Other than the fact the company didn't know that you weren't allowed to drive out of state until you were of the age of 18 in Indiana. So I got stopped in Ohio delivering seed on my way back into Indiana, that I wasn't allowed to drive because I had come from Ohio into Indiana, and I wasn't old enough to to cross the state line in a commercial vehicle or something. So we had to call somebody
Uh, uh,
from the warehouse to come and pick me up and pick up the truck.
oh well, it could have been a lot worse. And again, I did not know that you couldn't be driving over state lines under the age of
Yeah.
18.
Well, neither did I. Neither did anybody at the company. So they they found out that day. They said we've never heard of that. But
That's crazy.
what about you? What was your first job? First job you got paid for that was like a constant one, not working for mom or dad, around the house. What's your very first job?
I worked at a little grocery store called Brookhaven Foods. Now it's a different ownership now, but original, old school, kind of similar to like the grocery store you got in Salem there. And all I was doing is ringing up stuff. That's all I was doing. But I had to
Beep,
memorize like
beep,
what
beep,
was the codes for
beep,
apples, what was the
beep,
code for bananas. Like
beep.
I had to remember all this. Oh, dude, that gives me nightmares.
That sound
But
is
you
awful.
know, it was a cool job. Don't get me wrong, but just it wasn't for me. I mean, it was like I had to get a job. My mom said, you can get a work permit. You are going to work." And I think I was 12 or 13 at the time. So I started working at Brookhaven. I was there. I When I was younger, I changed jobs like I changed my underwear. Like I had so
So
many
about
different
once a month.
jobs. Like I could just give or take. Yeah, give or take if I remember to put them on. Um, but yeah, I would say that was my first job that I actually got paid for, besides doing piddly stuff around the
Yeah.
house for my parents and grandparents and whatnot.
Fast food. Have you ever worked fast food?
Yes, I would say I was an assistant manager at a fast food place, and then well, actually two places, a pizza place, and I was at Taco Bell as well. So,
Oh,
um,
run for the
but that was
border.
late night, and yeah, that was late night, and I didn't really. I mean, I still go to the Taco Bell that I used to work at, and the manager that when I was there, it was there, is still there. But I was definitely treated differently that I'm not going to go into, but
Yeah.
I didn't care for the management style.
I know this is going to be a shock to you, but I've never worked fast food. I've never worked in the food industry, period.
Really.
Yeah.
I will say I've seen a lot of stuff with the current career that I'm in with working with Just Fix It. Um, there's some places like I don't even want to do work at because I don't want it to ruin my
Ruin, like,
experience.
yeah. Yeah. Like
So
I've
Like
never worked
there's a
in the food
place.
industry at all, so it's like I'm completely dumb to what goes on like behind the counter at McDonald's or Taco Bell or any of those places. Like I have no idea what goes on back there. All I know is my food comes out in a bag and I'm happy with it.
All I can say is don't piss off people at Papa John's.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Just, I mean, hey, throw me the pizza, the dough, and you miss. It falls on the ground. You pick it up, you slap it around, you put some sauce on it. It's all good. It
Eh,
works. Not saying that I did that or not, but I'm just
yeah.
hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
So yeah, that though, yeah. So I have worked in fast food restaurants before. Um, it's a job.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those ones that you're going to do three or four tasks over and over, and you come in, you do your job, and you go home.
That's exactly the thing that would drive me crazy, which is probably why I've never worked fast food. It's repetitive. It's the same thing over and over, just like the factory that I did. Not a fan of that kind of work.
But again, I'm not going to knock it. My
Yeah.
mom
Oh
worked in
no.
fast food her entire life, and but I will say that as a management, once you get to a general manager where my mom was, or a district manager, she worked 50 to 70 hours a week. So I never got to see her. I
Yeah.
mean, she would leave at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, not get home till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was kind of left to kind of not necessarily fend for myself, but it's definitely
You grew up
took a
quick.
toll on thing. Yeah, exactly. You're 100%. My mom would leave me some money, say, "Hey, here's good enough. Go get your stuff for dinner, whatever," and kind of leave it at that. But I mean, people make careers out of it. They
Yeah,
have to.
I have huge respect for the people that work in the food industry because there are some people who come in and no matter what you do, it's not going to make them happy. And most of the people who are in the food industry, are they don't take it to heart. They let it roll off. And that's something that is good. Um,
Right.
and I have a great respect for all of those people because they have to work super hard every single day.
Uh, they definitely do, and they have to put up a lot of grief.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's going back and looking at all the different jobs that you may have had and the tasks that you may have taken. I will say that out of all of the jobs that I worked at, I mean, yeah, I'm just doing a shameful plug. I do love working for the Just Fix It, the company I work for now. It's my family owned and operated business, but um, being able to somewhat make your own schedule and be able to take care of things as long as the business is still continuing to grow, it works out. And hopefully it could be something that this year we hit 20 years, so hopefully, something Veronica may want to get into, or something that she can learn some of that. Because believe it or not, a lot of these kids nowadays don't even know how to use a screwdriver,
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that one.
or pick up a broom or a mop, or how to
Yep.
wipe clean windows. How many times did your mom or your parents slap you upside the head and say, "Hey, stop wiping the window like that. You're leaving it streaks."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Or wiping down the dusting or whatnot. So, but but yeah, I loving the new flags. I know you talked about it on the
Yeah.
previous episode, but they do look good up there, and you know, in the Misfit garage.
Yeah, the Misfit Garage is kind of in shambles at the moment. I got to get it cleaned up for some visitors this weekend.
It's a garage. Don't make a
Uh,
big deal about it.
it's a pretty sweet hangout though. You guys can all sit around and I can work on bikes.
But you enjoy doing that, because if
I
not,
know.
you're gonna
I'm
walk
gonna
around the
walk back and forth.
backyard, make phone calls. You're
Yeah.
gonna walk all the way out to the trees, check to see if the squirrel's there.
Yep.
Tinker with something.
Always doing something.
But I think at that point, I mean, I think it's a good point to stop and end the live.
Yeah.
I think that it was a good test run live on Facebook. Please let us know what your thoughts are. Please like, comment, and share. Head on over uh, to Ride a Rot. Tell Nick that you're excited to have him be on the show. Give him a like, give him a follow, give him a follow.
Same with us
But he'll definitely
on
love to see.
same with us on YouTube. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to YouTube and clicking the bell icon to let you know when we're dropping new stuff. Um, I was one of those that
Absolutely, we got some good content coming up.
yeah, I was one of those that never clicked the bell and never realized that it was even there until somebody said it, and then I was like, oh, that's super handy. Like, hey, it like sends me an email and says, hey, they just released new stuff. So pretty sweet.
Ex- Exactly, Craig. I'm going to let you give the advice of the day of the week.
Ooh, um, no matter what your job is, do the best at it that you can. And if you wanna move to something different, don't be afraid to take that jump. Do the best you can at the job that you've got. But if you want something different, change it up and do the best at that. You'll find something that really fits you and you really enjoy, which is what both of us have done. You've got your Just Fix It, and I've got teaching, and we both just love it. So, don't be afraid to move around and find something that you do love.
Absolutely. Well, with that, Craig, thank you as always, and we'll see you guys next week or next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday.